the fourth slide. We are in the fourth slide, Dr. Ross.
From the beginning?
Yes.
Fourth.
China has a population base for international capital. Industrial cities such as, we passed this part. The dimensional production capacity, when we look over in China, China has made its economy one of the most dynamic powers in the world by using its free zones. Unfortunately, although there are limited free zones in Turkey, but unfortunately, only less than half of them is China, which is the largest textile and ready-made clothing exporter in the world. China is also a country with the largest cotton production and consumption in the world, with the yield of 5 million tons, while the figures shows that China is advancing at full speed. Textile and ready-made clothing in the country is developing rapidly with the support providing cheap labor and production opportunities. China. With the entry of China in the World Trade Organization in 2002, it brought its system to a structure compatible with the international rules, while on the other hand, within the framework of these rules, it took advantage of all opportunities and protection measures in order to protect its own economy against imported products. In a report published by the World Trade Organization, there are some projections regarding the long-term allocations of EU and US market, with quotas in textile and apparel remaining. China broke these quotas by investing in other countries, which EU and US giving a different quota, including Turkey, but unfortunately these countries cannot fill this quota for the annual period. The Chinese economy has the largest textile and, as we said, textile and apparel industry in the world. In Chinese textile and apparel production, design are made by the foreigners, generally by a company that import from China. It is not possible to talk only about the design here, China, which has become a production base of almost all global textile companies in the world, constantly increases its production quality and efficiency with the know-how provided by these companies. Now, world markets buy quality products cheaply, not cheap products. Global companies such as Mark & Spencer and Gap that imports from China do not supply low quality products. Therefore, thanks to the know-how and training efforts provided by such companies, the Chinese textile and ready-made clothing industry has been increasing its production quality and efficiency over the years. The next slide, please.
In the conclusion part?
No, in the fifth slide, protection efforts and strategies of development.
You are in the fifth one?
Yes.
We have a few minutes, please. Okay. Yes, please.
Okay. The capital movements experienced in the world trade are not only in the form of investment and organization, for production purposes, but also in the form of capital transfer, investment rounds, especially in developing economies. In the globalization world, international companies have gone beyond the national benefit and emphasized the economic benefit necessary for the company. However, they did not ignore the national and international policies in countries where their headquarters are located, and even took advantage of these policies in line with the interest of the company and directed their investments. As a result of liberalization efforts in the world trade, capital can easily move in international markets. In the new period, the main objectives were determined as tariff reduction and remove tariff ceilings, high tariffs and cascading, as well as removing non-tariff barriers. The World Trade Organization, which was exposed to huge protests and whose opening was delayed for this reason. While in the resulting draft text, it has been adopted that the negotiation on market entry will be started. Significant tariff reductions will be made in all non-agricultural products. Non-tariff measures will be reduced and opportunities to provide it to developing countries. Transition from free trade to bilateral and regional trade as a result of negotiation within the World Trade Organization on liberalization. New trends have begun to emerge contrary to the removal of protection, which is the real purpose of the negotiations, especially developed countries preferred bilateral negotiations, while less developed countries opened their markets. With the wide market potential and consumption power they offer, these bilateral agreements have started to constitute one of the biggest obstacles to liberalization efforts in the world trade. In many countries such as Morocco, Tunisia, Jordan, and Uzbekistan, they make these concessions in order to develop industries to eliminate the high rate of unemployment in their countries to a certain extent, and not lose a huge market like USA. And thus they had the opportunity to attract US capital. Today, there are many U.S. investment and partnership in these countries, especially in textile and ready-made sector. And many companies outsource production to U.S. international companies. China, which filled the quotas of U.S. and EU in the first 6 months, knew how to benefit from these bilateral agreements. And as a result, it tried to break the quotas through these countries by investing in these countries with existing bilateral agreements. Next slide, please. When we look at the foreign trade policies of developed countries, the new dimension of competition that emerged as a result of liberalization efforts in the world trade that has been going on for the last 50 years has pushed the developed countries in particular to produce policies related to the control of foreign competition. It can be said that the USA, EU and Japan, which have the largest share in the world trade and advocate liberalization in the world trade, are the most organized and effective countries in terms of foreign trade control in this newly emerging competitive environment. These efforts to control foreign trade in many institutions and organizations they have created have also greatly affected the export of underdeveloped and developing countries that export to these countries that realize the highest ports in the world trade. These protection and control measures also provided developed countries with a distinct bargaining power and opportunities. When we look at it to U.S. foreign trade policy, the U.S. Department of Commerce, which is one of the leading institutions in trade policies in USA, which is the world's largest economy, it is the highest authority in import, export, and international agreements. Anti-dumping policy and follow-up, which is one of the most important protection measures, of course, is also formed by the units of this institution. At this point, the U.S. Department of Commerce evaluates the request from U.S. manufacturers, importers, and consumers, and it can be determined whether the import made within the framework of the U.S. foreign trade policy from U.S. manufacturer, and it is possible to impose an anti-dumping tax or anti-subsidy tax in this direction. Another unit that has a unit for import control, especially from China, is Port Administration, the China Non-Market Economy Compliance Office. Within this unit enforces law regarding unfair imports from China. If you examine the import data of the U.S., it seems that this country, which has the world's largest economy, and therefore the market makes the most imports from Canada, China, Mexico, and Japan. The main products group that the USA imports are electronic products, transportation vehicles, energy products, and minerals and metal products, and textile. When we come to EU foreign trade policies, according to the European Commission, which is a politically independent institution that represents and protects the interests of the EU, among the instruments of the common commercial policy are the common custom tariff, the rules on import, and the rules on export, and the rules for export. About the one-fifth of the world's total import and export are carried out by EU. The EU particularly focused on the following issues: facilitating market access, setting the rules in the areas such as investment, competition, and trade facilitation, supporting developing countries within preferential system, establishing a clear link between World Trade Organization rules and issues such as environmental standard and public health, as can be seen shaping the globalization of world trade in a way that supports development is one of the priority targets of the EU. The common commercial policy is being developed within the framework or work of these objectives. When the import...
Can you please summarize Professor Tuğ.
Okay. I will pass this session. There are lots of information about the data. Okay. When we come to measures implemented by developed countries and foreign competition controls by international. Well, at the point reached to the world trade, the labor intensive manufacturing sectors in which developed countries have lost their competitiveness. For example, textile and apparel, cotton and wool, yarn, steel, electronic, etc., especially agricultural products, various tariffs and similar applications, non-tariff measures, quotas, voluntarily export. These restrictions were protected by anti-dumping and simultaneous taxes and corresponding custom duties. The protocol of Chinese entry into the World Trade Organization includes special safeguards against Chinese products to prevent the threat of harm to the industries of the United States or other full member of states. In the context of China's entry to the World Trade Organization, the only sector that has been particularly precautionary is the textile and sub-industry. Accession. Okay.
Last 2 minutes, Professor.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, because you did 30 minutes, not 15.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
It is 28. Okay, please go on.
Okay. From the competition strategies on sector and country basis against Turkish textile and apparel sector, China danger. Many seminars and panels were organized on the competitive strategies of the textile and apparel industry in foreign trade and national competitiveness in Turkey. Organizations and associations were established, and this issue was supported by both non-governmental organizations and governments. It can be said that while the textile and ready-to-wear industry maintains its position as the locomotive sector due to its contribution to production and employment in Turkey, as well as its foreign exchange gain in Turkey, as in other developing countries in the world. It can be said that the automotive sector has taken this position of the textile sector. Well, let's pass this part too.
Please come to the conclusion right now.
Okay.
Sorry for that, because we have to start. We have to start another session in Hatay.
You're right.
So please sum up.
Let me conclude the issue. Let me come to the conclusion. Well, if you take Turkey, after many years of hard work and despite of all economic crises and obstacles that come with microeconomic policies, managed to become one of the outstanding players in the textile and apparel industry. If you take 1950 as a starting point for the multi-party system, it wouldn't be wrong to say within 73 years, between 65 government change, the Turkish industrialists made a great job. Government should take a necessary step to protect the microeconomic balance and political stability, which are two of the biggest obstacles that inhibit Turkish industrialists. By making their industrial plan with 25, 30 years of projection instead of 3-5 years Turkey can establish the industry future competition strategies. The Turkish industrialists, I'm finishing, Turkish industrialists and entrepreneurs need to be among the players of the global market. Does not simply mean making sales in the market, but also being active in the market. In addition to, once we already have, we need to bring up more capable business people who have incredible adaptation and organization skills that come from years of experience. Well, the last word that I can say, instead of current progressive tax system, it can be said that the flat tax system, which is the current being Eastern Europe, and it is also can the agenda European Economic Committee members can benefit Turkey. Success for countries constantly globalization world relies on strong economies. Strong economies are seen in the countries that are able to encompass companies with strong capital structure and maintain political stability. Thank you very much, and sorry for extending my...
No problem. Thank you very much. If they have any question, let me read for you, but there's no question right now. So thank you very much, Professor Tuğ. And the details are in your thesis, I think, in your PhD thesis. Am I right?
Excuse me?
The details are in your PhD thesis also.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you very much.